Okay, we're back. We're gonna cover a little college football. Obviously, I like to cover the FCS top 25. If you tuned in earlier, and I was on the MANNIX brothers at the Big Jab. Those dudes are dope. Check them out at the bigjab.com. And we go keep rolling. This is the after work college football recap. Um, Obviously, when we get on, I try not to get into X's and O's, and I try to develop the social emotional understanding of coaching and the teams that are really succeeding. If there are some social emotional coaching points, I'm always go point the coaching points out. Let you get an idea on why teams are successful, why teams aren't. It's sometimes it's clear and clean. It's just some players are better than others. And sometimes it's some people get out coached. I've been out coached several occasions. It sucks, but you don't get better unless you get out coached, unfortunately. And I can tell you I've been out coached. But we won't talk about who's been out coached. I don't think that's cool. But I'll mention it if they've been out coached. Yeah, man. So this was a tough week for me because I lost a great friend, someone I would even call a father figure for me. Um, and on top of watching college football, and he was a college football coach. And whenever the community loses someone, whenever the football community loses a coach who coached for 40 plus years, he's watched the game change over time. He's also watched the students change, the players change, administration change, the culture of athletic directors changing from former coaches to more businessmen and CEO approaches. Uh, yeah, so shout out to Coach Ed Argas. If you guys know him, um, you know. If you know, you know. Great friend, great mentor, great coach, great person, great father. Um, and so, yeah, um, I believe in paying homage because he was a great man. Not only was he a great man, he was a great teacher for me. He was a father figure for me when I didn't have a father. Um, and so, some of the lessons that I learned from him as a young man, as a coach, to a head football coach, uh, they're invaluable. They're priceless. Those lessons are priceless. All right, and so I'm grateful. I'm grateful to his family for allowing me to be in their home over Thanksgiving breaks and Christmas breaks when I couldn't get home to my own family. Um, to traveling up and down the East Coast with them and recruiting to professional development. That is the definition of a coach and the definition of a mentor. And so, if those, there are many people I imagine who've been touched by Ed, but for those who have been touched by Ed, and for those who have not been touched by Ed, if you have not been touched by him in the world of athletics or in the classroom, even, um, chances are you've been touched by someone he's reached. And so that's the definition of mentorship and discipleship and like turning people over so they can find themselves and find their mission and get on their journey. And Coach Argas did that for me, and I'm sure many others. And so my prayers is that his family um, has peace along the way as they mourn. and that they can get through this rough patch without without added turmoil. And so the Argas family, my prayers and my blessings and my condolences go out to you. And I'm sure many more will either post like this or something to this nature. So, okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to kind of talk today. Super hard. All right. I got a list of things to discuss. I guess we can just go into the list of things I'm gonna talk about. Okay. All right, Georgia, Florida, the biggest cocktail in the world is now just a big hangover. Florida pushed them as best they could, but unfortunately, they came up short. In them coming up short, I also will say it just seemed like they didn't have. I'm not sure that Florida often is outmatched, but they seemed outmatched in this. So much so, um, I mean, a scoreless first quarter and a scoreless fourth. The reason why I even mention that, because a scoreless first quarter, everybody's fresh, right? 14-0, it's still you still can recover. You being scoreless in the fourth kind of speaks to, and especially when the game was out of hand and the Bulldogs pulled the dogs off and put the puppies in. Unfortunately, it didn't make a difference, and Florida still couldn't get on the board in the fourth quarter. I think that speaks to the talent level, unfortunately, because in the fourth quarter, if the game is won, most teams, even great teams, have a tendency to start celebrating because the game's over. Whether you score a touchdown or not is not gonna make a difference. And so they tend to pull out all of their starters. They tend to pull out all of the people who got to play next week to just protect from stupid stuff happening. And so Florida not being able to score in the fourth was disappointing. Again, I have another mentor of mine is on that staff, and so I want success for those guys because he's my guy. But unfortunately, the Bulldogs are just a better team. Period. All right. We'll keep rolling. Ohio State, Penn State. I thought this was a big test for Penn State because Penn State, the James Franklin Penn State, has had some success versus Ohio State. It was the Urban Meyer Ohio State, not the Coach Day Ohio State. Be that as it may, it didn't matter this weekend. Um, for every moment Penn State had to push the momentum factor onto Ohio State was able to hold the line and drop anchor and not move. And yeah, the CJ Stroud kid's a dude. I think he's gonna be off the chart good. Um, it's interesting that none of the Ohio State quarterbacks have made any noise in the NFL. But he is my fourth pick for the Heisman final, um, which I'll probably get on and talk about Heisman candidates sometime this week. But yeah, Penn State, unfortunately, they need a statement game, and their statement games, like they either beat Michigan, lose Ohio State, beat Ohio State, and lose to Michigan. For the Nittany Lions, for Penn State to really be the Penn State of the Big Ten, they have to beat both Michigan and Ohio State. And if they beat Michigan and Ohio State, them losing to a Purdue, Wisconsin, Iowa, whoever, it won't matter. They will be like five. They will be formally known to be the team to do it. And there, and Coach Franklin has had some teams over the years that was certainly built to do it, but from one thing or from one reason or one mistake or another, they have yet to get that game that makes them the Big Ten carrier. And I say that because let's be honest, it's been Ohio State for the past 15 years. Yeah. Okay, so Kentucky, man. I thought Kentucky was gonna be a team this year, barring that Tennessee wasn't who we thought they were, or who I thought they were. And Tennessee, unfortunately, is. And Kentucky right now coming in ranked at 19 probably will fall out of the top 25 ranking. Um, but Tennessee, man, they got their work cut out for them next week because they have the Bulldogs, the Tennessee Vols versus the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, in my research, in my estimate, that's why we even talking about Tennessee. They took care of Kentucky, routing them 44-6 at Old Rocky Mountain Top. But this game, here's what this game, and then we'll go into the Michigan game because I have to. I want to speak on some things that I think is real critical for Michigan State as they move forward. But getting back, yeah, the Vols took care of business at Old Rocky Mountain Top. Um, but I just got to tell you, they're going to Georgia. They're going to Athens. And yeah, here's the thing that I know. Everything that Alabama didn't do, Georgia will do. Meaning, whatever Alabama did not capitalize on from an offensive or defensive schematic standpoint, you can almost bet Georgia will. Second, for everything Hooker was able to do to Alabama, he won't be able to do that against Georgia. Third, Georgia is not messing around. But every now and again, I think you get a team that's composed enough, seasoned enough, talented enough that can go pound for pound with teams that are just wired through and through with talent, um, have a great deal of respect for their coaches, and for whatever it's worth, just they expect to win. Is one thing to say, yeah, I want to win. I think about winning, but expecting to win puts you in a position of and puts you in a mindset that no matter what happens in the game, you're really never out of it. Um, that is very easy to talk. That's very easy to say. It's harder to live that life on the football field, especially in such a game when the physicality of it, like when you line up against someone that you know is stronger than you, yeah. And if you don't know nothing about that, whew, you better have your technique right. That's the point in this story. Um, you line up across someone you better than, and you expect to just whoop them, and that dude that you are better than, is gritted up, like, nah, son, no, not today. You are not just about to hat me. We got to fight. We got to fight for 4 quarters. You got some of those guys too. And so I think Tennessee is built with the right level of grit. They definitely have the talent. And in truth, this will be the game that dictates uh, if Hooker is a Heisman Trophy winner, not candidate. He's already go down in the candidate spot. Like, even if they drop the last 3 games, they would have to drop him, and he would have to be terrible. But this game, only so many, I think, only so many people and players and programs get themselves in a position to have a defining moment. Most Heisman Trophy Winners have a defining moment. And for this kid, I think this is going to be his defining moment. Alabama was his radar moment. Now everyone's taking him serious. Georgia, this is Heisman moment. And because of it, man, I'm going with Tennessee. Period. Tennessee over the Bulldogs at Athens. All right, right, Michigan State. Michigan got it done. It was a trap game because it's a rival game in state. Michigan State is a solid team. They just are unraveling right now. I think they do have some. I think they have some pieces in play. But right now, man, they're taking more losses than what they need because they're taking integrity and character losses now. This whole situation in the tunnel, yeah, let me try to figure out how to. First, let me start with saying I've done some shady things in my day that I am not proud of. Um, I've done some things in this that I would even say, for the sake of competition, I had no remorse for it. Um, Over the years, I've had some leaders that stepped into my life as players and coaches that gave me a perspective on how to play the game with some integrity and not sell out to the shady and shystiness that's available for you to just partake in because it's easy. It's a part of the culture. One, two is a dog eat dog world. And three, do it to them before they do it to you. That was kind of the code I lived by back in the day. um, yeah, I'm not proud of some of the things I've done. And so I'm not here to jump on the bandwagon of look, those three dudes know it was wrong in hindsight, but in the heat of battle, in the heat of and here's what you're gonna find out because it's an in-state game. Most of these kids know each other outside of just their competition. What you're gonna find out is there was some social media beefs going on. Um, and yeah, man, when you lose, you get in your feelings, and then you let people gas you up, and then you act out. And so when you socially emotionally act out, like it's based on you feeling a way about losing, you feeling a way about everything that was said when you were competing, and now you on the other end of that. And so this has nothing to do with Coach Tucker per se, although he is the top and they will uh, charge him for whatever outbursts his teammates. I get that. Um, and so yeah, man, I'm sad in that those kids had to learn the hard way. They've already been suspended. Chances are they'll have to transfer. Their likeness deals, if they had any, are gone. Yeah, this is just a case of a emotional or social emotional decision that was in the red or that was in the blue. Um, if you know what the social emotional color chart looks like, red is anger, you know, stuff like that, right? Anyway, so clearly they were in the wrong. They, man, the fact that I only get into what they did or what rumors have it. What I do want to say is that whenever you lose, it's important that you just sit in your loss, bro. Don't go looking for someone to point the finger at. Don't get hammered that night looking for someone to go fight. Like, sit in your loss, homie. That's what ultimately I got to say about that. The Michigan State players couldn't sit in their loss and couldn't handle it. Look, and here's the other thing I want to speak to. Don't be talking trash if you can't talk trash. The art of skullduggery, man. Everybody want to talk trash, but do you understand? Talking trash, if you, it's all about affecting the psyche, all about getting in somebody's head. And so, if you talking trash because you think it's cute or you trying to gas yourself up, don't worry. That air balloon gets popped quick, and it gets popped when you get tired. It gets popped when you line up on that field. It gets popped when you gotta have an answer for all of the DMs you sent, all of the all of the Twitter beefs that's been going on. You gotta answer for all your stuff at some point. And I've answered for my shadiness. I can't even tell you. And listen, and so I encourage players, man, if you playing this game, play this game with the integrity that your coaches are coaching you up with. And coaches, if you are coaching a game with a lot of emotions, be mindful that your emotions, much like the Jedi's, right? The dark side is real. And if you are the dark side defensive guy and you coaching with your emotions, be mindful on what you say when you are being emotional. Because again, I've done some things as a coach I may not have been proud. I know I'm not proud of, from little league to all the way to the NFL, all the way to being a head coach. And so every day that I recognize, every day, every time that happened, I try to recognize it and not only just repent, but also apologize to the players or the staff members that watched it or was there when it occurred or whatever it may have been, because it's not worth to harbor that in and just not deal with why you did it, when you did it, why you said it, and what made you say it. Just come out with it, own it. It's like losing. Like when you recognize you did something foul, address it. Like that's restorative practice. Go back to the people that you did it to and just be like, hey, yo, my bad. And keep moving, right? That's the point of restorative practice. And that's the same thing you got to do when you lose. Like, okay, we lost. It is what it is. Go back, look at why you lost. What can you do different? And make the corrections. But if you lose, if you take a loss and you trying to find someone to blame on why you lost, bro, you go take another loss. You already took another loss. In fact, you just took a character loss, and you took a character. First, you took a loss in the game, and by you trying to point the finger at somebody on why you lost, or the refs, or coach called this play, we ain't worked that play. Now you taking another loss. That's an integrity loss. Then you go take another loss because after the integrity loss, you go try to wrap one of your players into that loss, to try to get him on your woe is me party about why you made your mistakes. And so now you go take now the locker room is taking a loss because you just spilled more venom on a loss, bringing another player into your woe is me party, finding someone else to feel a way that you feel. And then guess what? That spreads. And now you got 7, 8, 9, 10 players not willing to get over the loss and deal with it as is, bury it, address their performance, address their mistakes, and move on. Now, the one loss has to turn in to, okay, now we got to have rehab, emotional rehab on the first loss that we just took. Now we got to have another loss because y'all just stumped someone out in the tunnel. That's a loss. Okay. Then we going to take another loss because chances are, if they're good players, they ain't going to be here no more. Now we're going to take another loss because whatever recruits was on campus probably going to Michigan now. And then we're going to take another loss because whatever coaches was in charge of the position that had the kids getting a squab are going to probably be on the line. So, like, now, see how one loss can just keep opening up more losses and more losses and more losses. The only way you can stop the losing mentality is by saying, Okay, I did it. Stop the bleeding. Stop the bleeding. Hey, this is my fault. What can I do to change it? And I hope you accept my apology. Or, hey, I'm going to do better next time and move on. When the game is over, if you do not get yourself in that mindset and you start worrying about all the junk you talked, all the trash you was talking, all of the retweets you was sending out, all the tags, you start doing that. Because I know that's what that is. You go act out and do something that's not called for. That's going to create another loss. And so that's all I got to say about the Michigan State. Kudos to Michigan for getting it done. As it pertains to the SEC, yeah, this is going to get funky next week. As it pertains to the ACC, how about this? Syracuse lose to Clemson. They're in great shape with a one loss in the ACC, hoping Clemson takes their loss somewhere down the road. And guess what? All you got to do is beat up Notre Dame, and they lose to Notre Dame. What's the point of it, Coach? It's hard to win. Syracuse losing to Clemson, let that loss affect the losing to Notre Dame. And then again, one loss creating another loss. Why? Because we still in our feelings about the loss prior, and not of and because we're still in our feelings of the loss prior. And Syracuse was undefeated. A Syracuse undefeated team losing to a good Clemson team who's undefeated goes and let Notre Dame, a not talented Notre Dame, beat them up. It's not because Syracuse is not better than Notre Dame. They could not socially, emotionally overcome the fact they did not beat Clemson. And whatever trash that they were talking, that spilled into the next week. That's why I stopped talking trash, because I got spanked one too many times talking trash. And I'm thinking, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to talk trash, get in their head. I was in their head, but then I'll be wide open like that. Oh, fumbling, dumbling, can't catch the ball. I never forget it. Never forget it. Shout out my man Rambo and my man Rob Marshall and Mumford University, Mumford High School, playing tight end. Here's my point. I was going off all city, all state, and we were a trashy team. We weren't any good. And so we playing a crossover game against Redford High School, right? And I mean trash. You talk about trash, garbage, bro. I talk so much trash for pregame because you stink. We stink. And so, really, what I learned is I'm trying to hype myself up to play well because I practice like trash. Man, I remember we just joked around all practice because we are a garbage team. And so now we're playing a crossover game while the state playoffs are going on. And so we are the trash bowl. So we playing the trash bowl teams while everyone who playing for the stadies playing for the stadies. And so ain't no one practicing serious. So now you get to warm-ups. Now you trying to gas yourself up. You trying to hype yourself up. What you trying to do? So I'm talking trash, right? I'm talking cash money. Cash money. And some of my dudes who played on this team for me can attest to this. I'm talking trash. I'm going off. They got a dope running back over there. They got an okay quarterback. But like, man, look, I got 25. I think I had 25 measly receptions on the year. And I'm popping off. Man, y'all don't want none of this. Y'all don't want none of this. Look, it's gonna be in, out. Just get out my way. Talking trash. And I'm geek now. I'm juiced now. I gotta show up now. So, like clockwork, first pass is a play action. Fake 25 power. I was wide boot. So I slam down, bang, get out in the open, quarterback gets hit. T. Marshall throws me a ball. It hit me in the hands. It's a little low, but it hit me in the hands. And I stop. Bubbled it, and then get hit. Bang. Out. Right? Drop the ball. All right, that's the first catch. I remember I dropped 6 passes this game. The last pass, I won't take you through the entire repertoire, but what ended up happening was one of the linebackers that heard me talking all that trash. He remembered me from the summer talking trash, and he remembered that I would be doing some shady stuff on the field. Okay, and so he like, yo, where you at, son? Why you ain't talking, dog? I don't hear you no more. So I line up. He break the. I line up on the left. I remember like it was yesterday. I was on the bottom of. I was on top of the numbers. It was twins right, pro left. It was fake 20, fake 25 power. I had the 7 cut. Okay, I come out of the route. I line up. Come out of the route. The linebacker with me. I stick him. Bop. I push him off of me. Stick him. Push him off of me. It should have been a flag. I push him off of me. I turn this way. I'm wide open. That thing hit me dead in the chin. Hit me in a bad spot. The chin, the face mask, the hands, everything. And that was like 3rd and 12. I'm wide open. And then when I dropped it, dude is in my ear. And I dropped it on my sideline now, meanwhile, mind you. So he in my ear talking, all city, yeah, huh? All city trash, all city trash. I think someone even called me DOT, Department of Trash. And so I come off the sideline, my man Rambo fired a knuckleball at me. A football. Fired a football at me. It was a knuckleball. And I caught that thing with one hand. Didn't even jam a finger or nothing. And you know what he said? He said, you soft. That was that. And he was right. I was soft. I was mentally soft. And not only was I mentally soft, I was butthurt because I got a spanking. And not only was I butthurt because I got a spanking, I'm butthurt because I got a spanking and all I was doing was talking trash before the game about watch me work. Watch me work. I'm about to get in, get out. Watch me work. And all they did was watch me get a spanking. Most embarrassing, one of the most embarrassing games of my career was playing ref for dropping 6 passes and my man Rambo throwing me a knuckleball after me dropping a big 3rd and 12. And just call me soft. Change that. I didn't talk that much trash, and after that, I stopped doing shady stuff on the field. I know this is a long story, but the story point of the story is don't be that guy that think he can talk trash, but you can't talk trash. Don't be that guy that's talking trash, but in reality, you really go get all salty and want to fight if it don't work your way, right? Another point of the story, just focus on you. Because you probably would be a better player if you just do that. I certainly would have been. All right. That's all I got, guys. Outside of that, my name is Coach Malik Hall. This is Catch Up with Coach. That was my college football top 25 edition. Yeah, that's all I got, man. It's Halloween. Take your kids trick or treating. Oh, and by the way, if you have a smart aleck son who thinks trick or treating is just potentially armed robbery, he's on to something. Till next time. Peace.